Hey everybody, I'm Matt Danford, senior editor with Modern Machine Shop, and in that role, I visit a lot of manufacturers like you, and the coronavirus is on everybody's mind. I'm sure you're sick of hearing about it right now, but the truth is there is legitimate reason to worry. Supply chains are more interconnected than ever, and even a ripple, let alone something like this, can maybe affect your ability to get parts to customers or get the things into the shop, the raw materials and consumables that you need to produce those parts. It can be easy to feel helpless. I'm here to tell you, though, that you are not helpless. In fact, you probably already have the right mindset in place to deal with this kind of thing. Based on the shop floors I'm visiting, everybody's really into collecting and analyzing their data. And, everybody talks about machine monitoring and other technologies, but it's really just more of a mindset of acting on evidence. And that can really help you get through this kind of thing. And we can help. And by we, I don't necessarily mean Modern Machine Shop, but Gardner Intelligence, which is the intelligence division of our publisher, Gardner Business Media. We collect data and analyze it too, just on a broader scale. We're looking at the whole metalworking economy, and one of the results of that is the Metalworking Business Index, which we publish every month. It tracks everything from backlogs to exports to material prices. The expert is here, Michael Gukas. He's our chief economist with Gardner Intelligence, and he's here to tell us a little bit more about the index and specifically how the index and by extension the industry is reacting to this new virus. And the idea again is the same thing you're doing on your shop floors. Make evidenced back decisions instead of going with your gut on everything. So yeah, Michael, what are you seeing in the data?
Yeah, Matt, thank you so much for your time. Let me show you a couple of slides I prepared for you and our audience here. First of all, I'm going to start off with the Chinese manufacturing PMI. It's a Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing. You can see here that for the last several months, supply chain front. Furthermore, when you look at what we have going on more broadly in China, you can see consumption, congestion indices. Essentially all factors of economic activity have taken a significant hit in China. And so if you're selling to China as well, there's going to be a big shock that you're going to see in the very near future if you haven't felt it already. Let me show you a few other things. Just within the US, of course, we're seeing more and more cases spreading across multiple states. It's no longer contained to just a few places. And so, domestically speaking, we're going to see some issues that manufacturers are going to have to prepare for as well. Things like employees being sick more frequently, or the duration of their sickness maybe being longer. I'm not a medical expert, but just from what we know about this virus, right, it's going to have a big impact on our ability to make sure that people are coming into the office or even able to work. Looking at our data, as you mentioned, the GBI, the metalworking index, which is a monthly measure of metalworking activity here in this country, we can see that we've had actually the last 2 months were very good. We saw 2 months of expanding activity after a second half of 2019 that was pretty weak, actually. And so, our concern here is that just as we're about to see a recovery in the metalworking space after roughly 6 or 7 months of weakness, the coronavirus is probably going to send this index lower. And I can show you some of the components here. You can see that the metalworking index on a month-to-month basis in January and February, it grew on production and new orders. Things like backlogs and export orders were what pulled that index lower. Certainly, if we have issues with the supply chain here because of the slowdown in China, and even because of domestic slowdowns that may come, then we're going to see a slowdown, of course, in our supplier deliveries data, which has actually been expanding for every month going all the way back to early 2016. So, Matt, to just summarize it all, let me close my presentation there, but to summarize all of this, the point is that a lot of manufacturing leaders and decision makers, they're going to read the headlines. They're going to be, I think, enticed to make gut decisions, emotionally driven decisions that could be dangerous. It's like when you invest in the stock market. If you're the kind of person that buys the headlines, you're going to end up buying high and selling low, which doesn't really work. But if you're making data-driven decisions using things like the GBI, which is one of the few indicators of what is happening just in the metalworking industry, in the metalworking sector, on a month-to-month basis, you won't be able to avoid the shock that's already come, but you will be able to position your company for the rebound, which will ultimately happen. And so that's the kind of actionable insights that we hope to be able to provide our audience. So again, I would just encourage them to visit your website, also visit gardnerintelligence.com. If they go to the section on reports, they can learn more about the GBI, and they should always just follow our blogs as well. We have sections on LinkedIn, on our website, and on Facebook, where we try to keep up-to-date information out there for them to understand how they can make actionable decisions that are data-driven based.
Absolutely, Michael. And with regard to the index specifically and those charts and graphs and figures you were just going over, the stronger the data foundation, everybody that Michael here and his team have to work with, the better the analysis they can churn out. And that really depends on you. We need you to fill out, it's just 10 questions, the survey in order to provide the information that Michael and his team need to do that analysis. So I would urge you to do that. We all benefit from better actionable insights like he was talking about. I'd also like to add, Modern Machine Shop offers some other resources as well that may help in a situation like this. For example, our supplier directory at mmsonline.com/suppliers. You can find suppliers of everything from machine tools to cutting tools to measuring equipment to software, anything you might need. Finally, I specialize in visiting shops like yours to write about what you're doing with technology. So if you're interested in a detailed window into what other shops are doing, please subscribe. Just visit our website, mmsonline.com, and click subscribe, assuming you're not a subscriber already. Michael, unless you have anything else to add, I think that wraps it. Thanks, everybody. Stay healthy out there.